So directly after Mark got his revenge on Conquest and in return got his guts dug out, Thetis and Thragg are ready for war. But behind the scenes, that man Thragg is pissed, trying his absolute hardest to sound like Shakespeare or something. Like, bro, ain't nobody taking this serious, let's be honest.
These animals dare rise against us. Against us who brought stability to madness.
Loki, let me audition right quick. These animals dare rise against us. Against us who brought stability to madness. Brought order to chaos.
Is this nigga serious?
But now we go to see Nolan making a gravesite for his son, who wasn't able to make it. No. Yeah, I'm lying. Y'all see this fat grave? There's only one person that saw us. And no, I am not talking about Queso. Damn. It's a grave for Con. And Oliver does not agree with the sentiment. And honestly, I don't either. The homicidal lunatic who not only tried to murder your youngest son, but daughter-in-law and oldest son. Twice! And all because he was devoted to Viltum? Now I understand you trying to turn a new leaf, and I can respect that. But Conquest wasn't just doing this for Viltum, bro. He's actually, clinically, insane. He had fun tormenting your kids. Personally, I'll turn a bro into a puzzle, then feeding it to whatever creature needs some food. Because after what that doofus Cecil did, I'm not taking no chances. And since Oliver agrees with me, he goes storming off. And we actually see Mark, who is still pretty cooked. But Nolan says they can't go to a doctor since they might get sniped or just jumped by Viltrumites. Meaning they gotta camp here for a couple months so that Mark can heal. And that's totally fine, guys. Take your time. Surely, the war won't need 2 of its strongest shoulders, or at least 1.5 of them. Cause I mean, they got Alan, and he the GOAT. So instead, let's watch Omniman beat up this mutant shrimp cockroach before getting eaten alive. And then as an homage to his son, busting out of his guts. Because of course, this is what's for dinner. Hooray. But fast forward to the morning, and Nolan says it's time to train. Because as we all saw, Oliver is not ready yet. But he should have just stayed his at home. He ain't put in no work for real. But training is pretty much just you in the DMs. Just non-stop airballs. He really has been living life on easy mode ever since Conquest. Ain't no way you fighting every day and still this ass. But he tries the 10-10 technique and goes flying in circles just to get caught and weaves so nonchalantly it's like I'm looking in the mirror. Like, look at this, bro. Omni-Man got bro hitting the Superman, not even looking at him. Where is he going? But after he faceplants, the sore loser sneaks Nolan, pushing him before going into his emotional tangent, pressing Nolan about calling Andressa a mistake. And I get that that's your mom and all, but bro, look at her. I think this can qualify as a mistake. But meanwhile, Alan realizes the Viltrumite shit they're on has made it to a spot where the coalition is. So not wasting this opportunity, him and Zoe go flying over there to safety. But the super good Viltrumites can't let that happen, as here they come hot on their trail. But Zoe's Iron Man suit is like still having an iPhone 10. Her shit is way too slow. So of course, nice guy Alan launches her to the coalition, and in return, he gets to rock Steve Harvey before getting the dog shit beat out of him. They had bro flying back and forth like they was playing ping pong. I know he hate to see a Viltrumite these days. But now they get him in a chokehold, and that hand is ready for the finisher once again. Except this time, Zoe pulls up to save him, but she is not alone. Because Space Racer blasts that nigga Crab, turning him into Toji, and blows up their ship, leaving that bum looking like hell nah, as he skedaddles away. And man, I really wish it could have been him. I can't stand that hooligan. But back with the Graysons, Nolan says Mark isn't getting enough protein, leading us into the damn shrimp cockroach cave to steal some eggs. Typical thug behavior. But they pretty much jumped the hell out of this thing before popping that duo up, hitting a super uppercut finisher. But instead of putting the freak out of his misery, Oliver wants to keep it alive so it can make more. And you know what? W Olive Branch, that's a great idea. So now after Mark heals up, then we kill it. But back on Talescria, after Alan and Zoe make it back, Talia lets them know there's a special guest who's been waiting on them. And it's who else than the Demon Battle Beast, who is of course horny for some boxing. And so, unlike a lot of y'all, him along with everybody else gets right to work. Even Oliver putting their hands on his dad now. Just look at the growth, man. And it's not just them, because after Mark starts sleep talking, Nolan says he'll wake up any day now. Getting Widow Oliver sad because he's having so much fun with his dad. Wham, nigga, I don't wanna hear it. But we do get to hear Thragg stressing since the coalition is giving them belts right now, giving him no choice but to hit him where it hurts. Seeing the next battle will take place on Talescria. So me hearing that, I know they better not touch Telia or I will. But back to the father and son, they're taking a nice and peaceful walk just talking about lobsters. You know, normal convo type shit. Till they pull up to the crib just to see Mark is gone. Probably got snatched up by the shrimp roach and is getting diddled with as we speak. Except nah, he's just chilling at Conquest's grave, assuming the worst. But hold on right quick, peep the facial here. That boy looking Asian. It's about time. They had bro chilling in Shottown so long, I about damn forgot. But it's crazy to see even his shit don't connect in the middle. With the beard nor stash. I see why he keep that shit shaved. But he looks up at the rocks and comes to the conclusion that his family is gone. And he wasn't there to help. Until here comes Oliver embracing his brother before they give bro the lore on him murking Conquest in the 2 months that he's been asleep. And yet still, job's not finished. And so back on Talescria, we see the fat chopped secretary turning his brightness down or something, which probably ain't too relevant to the plot. But regardless, now there's a huge shadow coming looming over Talescria. And it is not just for show, because it blasts Thetis' office building, completely destroying it. And so now in the rubble, we see nothing but a hand, meaning Thetis is done. Except, bro just pops out that bit looking like Zeus. Nigga been making everybody else do all the work, and he over here built like a Greek god. And hold on, speaking of that, listen to this right quick.
Yo, fuck that nigga Bila. Bila's a hoe, Bila's a hoe, Bila's a hoe, Bila's a hoe, Bila's a hoe.
But everybody else who is there is good too, until the Vil triggers come flying down, and the ship keeps blasting the city. And I promise, Alan and Zoe cannot handle all that. And because of that, these NPCs are getting cooked. And we even see Krieg Chop Dad going crazy. Yeah, these guys are done. Until you realize, Optimus Prime would never go out like that. If I started playing some Linkin Park in the background, you would really think he would be. Because now he rocks Krieg, booming him into the wall. And this demon don't stop there either. He starts beating this nigga's ass. I remember when bro slapped Conquest, I thought that meant he was tough. But turns out, this bum probably like Oliver level. Until he kicks Thetis off of him and they take to the sky. As we switch scenes to see Tech Jacket getting impressed by Escobar, meaning once again, Alan gotta clutch up. Tossing Lucan's bitch ass out the frame, then flying down and beating the mustache off of Escobar. Sending that nigga to the moon. And I hate to say it, but turns out, Zoe is the weakest link. And it's a shame, cause I really thought she would be tough. As now she gets speared by Anissa and taken on a trip through the city. And this is all while Thetis is still beating the brains off Krieg too, by the way. But now Anissa got Zoe held up in the air, snatching off her armor and getting that hand ready for what we all know comes next. Until she gets smacked up out of there, and by none other than Invincible. And with the whole squad too, they threw bro right back into the action. And the three of them get right to work. But intellectual Mark sees that the ship is still a problem. So he tells Oliver to go up there with him so they can handle it. And through the power of brotherhood, they both go tearing through it, absolutely obliterating it. And all while Thragg's still inside too. Bro really pulled up on smoke just to sit in the ship and spectate. I just know he finna be buns, bro. But in the chaos, Emperor Argall's skull goes falling down, making Thragg jump to save it like it was his baby or something. I promise, Argall is not finna let you hit, bro. He do not fuck with you like that. But seeing that the ship is cooked, his army's losing, and the Vil triggers are getting worked, Thragg decides to call it off. And so, they all go flying away. And even after taking an L, they try to war for him. Like, bro, this shit is not going on no poster. Ain't nobody trying to see this shit. That man Krieg looked about 2 seconds away from linking up with Volcanica too. This shit low-key sad. But now, there's only one thing left to do. And that's just to not let the ship fall and completely blow the city to smithereens. And with the power of friendship, they make it happen. But back down, Telia notices that someone turned off the defense system, which allowed them to get caught lacking. And surely, we don't know who's responsible. Till Alan grips up the skinny secretary and starts pressing them since they know it's gotta be one of them. Except of course, It was the fat nigga who gets sniped by the skinny one, putting bro 6 feet under with no questions asked. I'm lying, but he does say Thragg finna get the whole squad and pull back up. So Thetis has the idea to just pull up on them first on planet Viltum. Anyway though, over on Ralonia, we see some thugs doing a handoff, except they are not handing off what them frat boys be doing. That shit is a bomb that goes booming, destroying an entire Viltrumite ship. This is exactly the kind of hate I need starting off an episode. Now if y'all show me Eve, I'm locked. But instead, it turns out this is a flashback where we see a young Thetis along with Creed debating on how exactly to handle these Ralonian hoodlums. That is till Emperor Argal and his aura puts it to rest. And if I'm being honest, he is not rocking that fur coat like Thragg do. But enough glazing, it's time for hatred. Because Thetis wants to take the peaceful route. But Thragg and Argal are like, nah, let's slime out 25% of their population. That'll teach them. And Thetis does not agree. But the disagreement leads us into the dark of the night, where we see someone posted up in Argal's evil lair, looking very much like a betrayer. And just like that, Emperor Argal is no more. But freak all that. What's really important is at the funeral, Thragg asks this random black Vil trigger if he plans on betraying them too. But of course, the brother says no. But you know what Thragg decides to do anyway? Slice that nigga's neck off before they then place on the iconic coat in an incredible instance of aura maxing. And now inspired by that act of hatred, everybody just start boxing for the love of the game. And the way they're doing their own people is downright disturbing, bro. They punching ladies' heads off, breaking niggas' backs, snatching off arms, and doing homemade abortions. They are actually insane. This gotta be by far one of the worst races of all time. I'd rather be an Uchiha, bro. I know I said I like starting off with hatred, but god damn, this a little too far. Like, bro, they even got kids fighting each other. Look at how they jumping, bro. And it's honestly so much violence going on, I dead ass can't show it or YouTube go do me just like how the Viltrumites getting done. Just know it's disgusting. Literally enough to be raining ketchup. Yeah, we out of here. To the present on Talescria, where Thetis is giving his pregame speech as the camera pans over on the team. But bro, peep Oliver, the most ass nigga here, got the nerve to be smiling. Literally nobody invited you, bro. You done got your ass beat in 75% of your screen time. You do not get the privilege to smile. But since the lights getting bright, it got Mark stressing, recording what could be his final message for Eve, describing Thragg like how they was talking about King Von. No way he can be that strong, right? And Oliver agrees, saying he definitely is not that tough. But according to Telia, he definitely is that tough. And it leads them in a conversation about what exactly what they want to eat if they got to pick whatever they wanted. And I just need y'all to listen to this lunatic battle beast.
My final meal will be my own blood as I choke on it, breathing my last breath after a legendary battle with a superior opponent.
Is this nigga serious?
Yeah, ain't no way Thragg is beating, bro. I'm not gonna lie. This nigga genuinely putting his life on the line for this, and purely for the love of the game. Thragg don't stand a chance. But meanwhile, we see Nolan and Thetis having a talk about Thetis' persistence in completely wiping out all Viltrumites so they can never do anything harmful again. Which leads Nolan to remind him, Mark and Oliver are Viltrumites too. And you wanna know what Thetis is? Not a damn thing. Bro looking outside knowing nobody called his name. Yeah, he might have to go. You can get Oliver, but that's it. And speaking of, after a nice little bonding moment between the Graysons, it's time for battle. But as they're traveling through the countless Viltricker corpses surrounding the planet, not only is there one alive in there waiting for a chance to pounce, but standing completely out in the open is Thragg, not ducking any kind of smoke. But as he stands there aura farming, Optimus gets snuck by the one from earlier, as now niggas stop playing prop hunt and all pull up to completely surround the squad. Because if you couldn't tell, they knew they were coming. But either way, it's time. and Thetis immediately goes for old girl, grabbing that Rapunzel-ass ponytail and pulling her right into some stage 3 CTE. Then Nolan comes down, rocking Anissa and taking her somewhere where they can be alone. And I do not blame, as Zoe tries out the beetle dart on Thragg, who gets saved by an NPC, and as a result, he gets mutilated by Alan, proving them darts definitely work. But the best thing happening right now is Mark and Oliver jumping the mustache off of Luke, and I love this boy. Except 10 seconds later, Oliver getting smacked, leaving Mark to now get his ass beat by Steve Harvey. Niggas couldn't let me be happy for 4 fucking seconds. But then we see Mark get punched and then grabbed in a chokehold, probably having conquest flashbacks. Until out of nowhere, bro gets beamed by that infinity ray that about takes out Anissa and Thragg too. But apparently, Unc wasn't worried in the slightest. Everybody and they mama was talking crazy about him after last episode. Now all of a sudden he a chronic ore farmer. Alright bro. But anyway, it turns out Space Racer is not alone. He has a team of Ragnars with him. They just get unleashed on the Vil triggers and they going crazy too. Now we might get to see an even fight, as one even spears away Anissa, leaving Omniman all alone, setting us up for the main event as he speeds off to Thragg just to get flash step weaved as Thragg looks over pissed. This man done messed up because Thragg gets above him just to assert dominance, then cocks back and rocks this nigga, sending him flying through Viltrum's atmosphere and straight down into the city. Yeah, this man Thragg looking kinda different. I might have to apologize for my hating. But now he meets Nolan down on Viltrum for a talk. And you know it's crazy because peep the lightning shots behind him. Ooh-wee! This is a aura farming special for animators. But after trying to persuade Nolan to switch sides again, knowing that Thetis can't be trusted either, they both go walking off. But back off in space, of course, we see Oliver's trash ass get caught in a headlock, making Space Racer for whatever reason start aiming the infinity ray, knowing damn well he not hitting that shit. Literally doing the Stefan space pick, leading him to now get pressed by multiple Viltrumites who start bashing his shit until that helmet bust open, leaving him to take his final breath. Damn. All because he didn't want to go over there and throw hands. This is why you can't be a one-trick pony. Except luckily, Alan and Zoe pull up and she fixes his helmet right up, saving this broke nigga's life. But back on Viltrum, Thragg continues to try and convince Nolan to switch up on Thetis. But Nolan just wants peace. So since they can't seem to agree, there's nothing left to do but settle this like men. As Thragg cocks back so hard that he's creating a tornado, pulling this man in and putting it directly on Nolan's chin, sending his ass flying all the way through the atmosphere and back into space. Oh hell no. Yeah, my bad. I'm definitely apologizing, OG. I ain't never mean no disrespect. But the worst part is, he ain't done. Coming following suit. But even worse is who else than this bum Oliver is the one who comes flying through as support. Oh my gosh, they're cooked. Out of everybody, it had to be Oliver. Oliver? Yeah, rip to bro. Because Thragg catches that weak ass punch, calls Oliver a glorified ant, then crushes his hand. But he grabs the other one too, leaving Oliver stunned. His ass is so cooked. Because Thragg knocks this nigga's chin off and his arm in one fell swoop, which of course gets Mark pissed, making him go flying over just to get caught by Thragg, who tosses his ass back into the void, even calling Oliver a failure. God damn, he ain't got no mercy. Deadass, bro. I take back everything. I know I was hating on Oliver. Obviously, I don't like the nigga, but no chin, no jaw. I can't chew my food no more. And one arm? I think that's too far, Thragg. I'm not gonna lie, bro. But Mark like, fuck all that. I murk Conquest, and I'm finna murk you too. Except Thragg is not moved. Only saying, show me. Which at this point, probably should have been enough for Mark to realize he is way over his head. But I get it, the adrenaline pumping right now, so why not? So he flies in, cocking back as Thragg braces, and we just see a demon when he connects, because that shit did absolutely 0 damage, leaving Thragg looking like how I know Eve be looking behind the scenes. Disappointed. And he's the only one, because I promise I'm not. Who the hell is finna beat this nigga? I went from thinking he's a bum to him being too OP. I couldn't be disappointed if I wanted to. But you telling me we gotta put our hope in Alan, Tech Jacket, Space Racer? Nigga, we just naming people. Staying anti? Because it's obviously not Oliver, obviously not Mark, and this nigga Nolan is still flying from the last punch. I ain't seen nothing this cooked since my guy. But when he finally stops and goes to look back at the battlefield, all he sees is Oliver's body parts floating by, giving him no choice but to lock in. Blitzing back, but he ain't missing much. But you know who is? This nigga Mark, because he not landing nothing just to get smacked, and now he got that Itachi vision. That might be a blessing in disguise, because he not go like what he finna see anyway. Because he gets boomed in the chest, put in a chokehold like he fighting Kane, then pimp slap through space, impersonating his pops. Meaning now, we're left with Battle Beast. And this is exactly what he been waiting for. As he flies towards him, gets his shit rocked, then grabbed and tossed into the void too. Yeah. Now I see why bro was posted up at the beginning of the fight like that. He knew he could have beat all these niggas by himself. But not according to Omniman, who pulls back up telling everybody to follow him. And now the squad's assembled, but at what cost? I am not moved, and neither is Thragg, who just floats there. But on the way, some Viltrumites come snatching Alan and Zoe, but Nolan like, fuck them, we got bigger fish to fry. As we see Space Racer load up and blast the Infinity Ray and straight towards Viltrum too, while the Vil triggers on the team follow suit, and they do not stop, all going barreling down and into the planet, creating a massive explosion that in turn starts destroying everything outside before we go in to see them charging through the inside too, leading us to pan out and see the entire planet almost obliterated. But even then, they just continue to push through to the planet's core, and then eventually go booming out the other side, completely nuking the entirety of the planet and blowing it to nothing but smithereens, therefore leaving the Viltrumites with nothing. And they are all completely and utterly shook, not even able to process what just happened. But someone who does know what happened is their leader, who comes prying through some debris and with tears in his eyes. They done hit the strongest nigga alive with regular show levels of rage bait. He finna nuke everybody, making them instantly ready up. And look at Mark's face. That boy scared as hell. Bro just respawned and he already finna get sent right back because Thragg blitzes forward and speeds straight to Thetis, gripping him by the face and snatching his head off his body, taking revenge for Emperor Argon that leaves everyone shook and him unsatisfied, as he now pops Unk's cranium, saying that Nolan is next. And they are better than me, because as soon as he grabbed Optimus, I would've dipped. There wasn't no reason to stay here. But since they did, now Nolan gets grabbed and taken on a trip, leaving Mark to follow suit, just so he can say he was involved. Because be honest now, what is he finna do, bro? As we see Thragg unloading on Nolan, giving him that conquest to Mark treatment, until he prods his hand off and knees Mustache Man in the chin, before now deciding to go taking off. But Thragg ain't letting that slide, pulling back up and blowing his back out, before proceeding to get 2 more licks in, and yet he's still not finished, continuing to beat on him until Nolan finally dodges as Mark spears Thragg away. But like I said, what is he finna do? Because he gets 2-pieced up out of there, making Thragg focus back on Nolan, who for whatever reason besides just having CTE, I guess, is just floating there with his eyes closed, till he gets stole off on, and not just once, but 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 times. Like, god damn! He murked Thetis so quick he said he finna cherish this ass whooping. But meanwhile, we also see Alan getting his ass beat too. So hey, everybody's joining in on the fun. Except mid-fight, I guess he get a Zenkai boost, and now he's winning. Until Zoe and Space Racer pull up saying they gotta go. Freak them Vil triggers. And so, they head out, even blasting Broski here through the face on the way. But since the NPC is gone now, we can go back to Mark getting punched and passed back to his dad. And we see Thragg still without a scratch. Yeah, this is not finna end well. But Nolan rushes anyway, gets his hand broke, then tossed it aside like how he did Debbie, as Thragg charges to Mark, making him be like, hell nah, and starts skedaddling. But Thragg is hawking his ass, looking like Braun on a fast break, grabbing bro by the hair like he giving back, and now holding bro up by his face, giving me Thetis flashbacks like it wasn't 30 seconds ago. Except he gets saved by Nolan, who sends him flying, leaving Mark just like, Dad, how do we beat this nigga? And look at his face. he know they are not beating him. You know it's bad when he literally hits his son with the sun. Because 2 seconds later, we see why. Because Nolan gets blasted through the gut, like father like son I guess, and then just let go again. Pissing off Mark, who now lands a punch that does absolutely nothing. Just gets Thragg even more disappointed, as he now grabs Mark's throat and smashes him with the headbutt, knocking him out cold. And it's a real shame he left his eyes open, because Thragg starts gouging him, squeezing the life from him, about to give bro the She-Sweet treatment. That is, until he looks up and see the remains of his planet and his people, as even the leftovers of his squad pull up too, telling him to end this. But he doesn't, since there's already too few of them. So out of respect for his kind, they go flying off, leaving Mark and Nolan to float, before eventually being found by Talia, who's with everyone, including Battle Beast. So I just gotta ask, where the hell were you? Bro is the only one who got tossed and just never came back. Who would have thought he would be the fake demon? Surely he doesn't do anything to avenge this in the comic. Anyway though, bro, fast forward a couple weeks and Mark wakes up, but not just him, because the ant baby is in a test tube and Omniman is on his feet too. So the whole gang's just back together. How sweet. But since Thetis got slimed, now Alan's in charge on Talescria. But more importantly, even after a couple weeks, they still have no idea where Thragg and the other Viltrumites have gone. That is until Mark puts 2 and 2 together and realizes they've gone to Earth. So Thragg, please, I need you to wait, please. Leave Debbie and Eve alone. Surely you could do that for me, right? There's no reason to bother them, bro. Like, get Paul, and if you want a woman so bad, take Amber. But anyway, after what just happened to Viltrum, there's no way the Viltrumites will pull up to Earth quietly, as they all come booming down into the city, causing mayhem, even spawning in a tsunami, like they finna restart mankind. And of course, before they do anything, they have to get a group flick in just to maximize the aura farm. I can't even fathom what they finna do to these niggas, especially when you consider who we got to defend Earth. You telling me I gotta put all my faith in Bulletproof? Wait, Immortal? Oh, wallahi, we're cooked. And look at this man Thragg just looking over the planet too. He swear he's so tough with the mustache, the cloak, the waves. Nigga, I would smack you. But after a couple days of having to wait before even making it back to Earth, Omniman starts going over the plan. But naturally, Mark does not want to wait. He really just like me for real. Debbie and Eve both down there with those Trigger thugs. Yeah, I don't blame him, as bro just takes off. But after a while of scouting around, Nolan and Tech Jacket pull up just for Mark to say they're not here. So I guess there's no reason to worry, guys. Everything turned out great. So now we can focus on the important things. Debbie Grayson, happy to see her son, but not happy to not be seeing the other one. You know, the ant baby. So Mark tries to explain, but all he sees is his mom getting choked from behind. And by who else than Thragg, who says it's time for payback, as he proceeds to twist her head off like he was opening a bottle, leaving Mark beyond shook. He don't know what to do. But I know exactly what to do. How dare you do that to Debbie, you bitch? You think you so fucking tough because that hand-me-down old-ass coat that Argyle probably used as a rag, and that detachable Mr. Potato Head-ass mustache. Mark, you gotta end this nigga or I will. Except luckily, that's not needed, because Mark gets snapped out of it and it was all fake. I knew it. No way they do Debbie like that. I would have pulled up myself. But even after what he just saw in his mind, Mark like, alright, I'm going to see Eve. But he does say Nolan is here. And guess what bro is doing? Just floating over the air like some kind of protector. Like, nigga, you're the threat. Niggas really would do anything to try and get their girl back. You ain't want her anyway. So naturally, my girl pull up talking her shit, pretty much calling him a deadbeat bum who she never choose over staying in time. And eventually, he has enough, blitzing in front of her, trying to play victim. Debbie, please, stop acting like you don't know me. Buddy, she does know you. You're a psychotic murderer who impregnates ants and views this blessing on the eyes as a pet. It'd actually be better if she didn't know you. At least then you could start over. And so of course, she don't fold. That is until he starts up the mind games, and god damn, that nigga good. bro might have to go into the Toxic Partner Hall of Fame. He doing all this trying to gas it up just for in 6 months. He probably gonna move on to a cockroach this time. But anyway, Mark makes it over to Eve's and hold on. I know she ain't have all them thighs before. Golly, ain't no way Mark can handle all that. Let's be serious. But you want to know how they disrespect me? By the next scene being clothes thrown all over the floor and these two niggas cuddled up in the bed. Yeah, I'm blowing all this shit up. All we gotta know is she got her powers back and Mark is still depressed. Whoop-de-doo. Let's move on, bro. To Cecil and Sinclair spawning in a damn black hole portal with a octopus demon in it that snatches up Sinclair, but right before he gets took, the portal gets shut down, meaning that man Robot and Monster Girl gonna have to make it back by themselves. Sorry, bro. We tried. But now back to Mark and we see him with Will, Eve, and the robot nigga walking around with Eve wrapped around Terminator's arm. And I'm not gonna lie, I know she done gained some weight, but she do not need help. There would have been one more person added to the list after seeing this. Oh, you said what list? Oh, the list of bodies that we see scattered around the courtyard and at the hands of who else than Anissa, who now has William by the jaw before, of course, snatching that shit off, giving him the Oliver treatment. Except once again, it was all in his head. Bro was already mentally unstable before the war, but now this? Yeah, that CTE gonna have him throwing grenades at his kids in a few years. But more importantly, we go to Paul and Debbie as he suggests she goes to see Oliver. But freak all that. What's really important is he also says they not together no more and are, and I quotes, just friends. So let's fucking go, man. I knew this day would come. I might not be the dad, but I will be the dad that stepped up. Stepping up to tell Oliver stay the hell out of my crib. We finna make your replacement tonight. But speaking of night, we fast forward to Mark and Eve on the roof chilling. But of course, Mark just can't live in the moment and appreciate life because of course, he's still depressed. But this time, Eve goes to one-up him, saying she knows why her powers stopped working. Because she was going through changes. And something else finna change too. Because she gets snatched up by the demon Thragg. Finally, here for his revenge. Dangling her thick ass in the air with one hand. And after all this anxiety and anger, you know Mark wasn't letting this slide as he proceeds to not do a damn thing. Just sitting down here with this dumbass look on his face. Like honestly, bro, what was even the point of you rushing back to Earth if you just go act like a bitch the whole time? You not even enjoying the presence of the people you cared about and loved because of the CTE and depression. And whenever you get these little flashes in your imagination, you not even fighting back. Do you know how ass you have to be useless in your own mind? Like nigga, if you wasn't gonna do nothing, you should have stayed on the ship. Why are you down here? And because of this, Eve gets one eye gouged before the other one just pops out his socket like a gumball. And she gets tossed back to the roof like one of them Caleb City skits. So does now Mark do something? Hell nah. He just over here shaking, looking terrified. And rightfully so. This is truly a traumatic thing to witness. But like bro, you could at least try to stop it. I mean, you're a superhero. Your name is literally Invincible. And like realistically, if you found out your family was safe on Earth and you know those Vil triggers are a threat out there, why not just take them all to a different planet and let them chill there where they can really be safe? Because honestly, y'all not beating Thragg anyway. So it don't matter if you're here or not. Anyway though, man, of course it was all in his head and Eve's fine. Mad fine. But now it's time for her to tell the truth. And instead, she had an abortion, which is kinda crazy, I'ma be honest. She had no faith this man would survive. I understand it's your body, but not even a convo with your partner? Not even letting them know first? Especially if y'all are still together and planned on staying together. That's tough. But now finally, Mark's the one who embraces her as she lets it all out. Ah, how sweet. About time he did something for her. Bum ass nigga. But now we check on Nolan, reminiscing on the days he was beating the dog shit out of his son while calling his mom a pet. Ah, good times, right y'all? There's no way his life gets any better. Right. Regardless though, Cecil pretty much calls bro a school threat and tells him to take his old ass on somewhere, leaving poor Nolan sad. Aww, we do not care. Because guess what? Mark's having another emotional meltdown since he wasn't there for his pregnant girlfriend, even though he didn't even know she was pregnant. And he's also scared for his life because of the Vil triggers, who he knows he can't beat because obviously he is not invincible, which leads him to start crying before once again getting coddled by Eve. She really is the one, man. You know how much slander Mark would get IRL? He'd be in so many screenshots, it wouldn't even be funny. But suddenly, Nolan pulls up saying it's about time for him to go. But first, here comes Debbie with that look finna make me, as she says she's coming too to be there for that sorry excuse of a son. Nolan really dropped off his new girl's baby with his ex, and now she cares more about him than he do. Bro is actually evil, dog. But either way, he gets to take off with fine shit, so I guess it all worked out. He really is a master at this shit. But let's just be honest, two exes traveling together pretty much by themselves, we all know what's finna happen. She gon' be tooting that thing up in a week, tops. And speaking of that, we now see Mark having a meeting with Cecil. But I'm confused because Mark, why are you not beating this nigga's ass? The conquest fiasco just water under the bridge? It's because of this guy that you literally got gutted. Ain't no way we not at least slapboxing. And luckily my words have been heard, because Cecil gets speared through the back and lifted up into the air like he's being possessed. And at this point, we all know by who, as we see the Grand Regent remind Mark that there's no one who can stop them, as he tosses that bum to the ground before the real Cecil snaps him out of it. And finally Mark is like, alright bro, you remember that therapy we talked about? Sign me up expeditiously. But until then, Eve tells bro to just take a flight, and not the She-Suite kind of flight, but just go on a little joyride. And so that's exactly what he does, going out, seeing the world in its totality, taking it all in before heading back down and enjoying the peace. That is until he comes to a stop, because what he sees is the opposite of a symbol of peace, because in the sky floats Thragg, standing ready for Mark's arrival, before telling him, yes, we are here. And unlike every other instance, this time Mark decides to do something, flying in and smacking Mustache Man, but it don't do shit, leaving Mark confused. And can you be mad? This is all he got. But he doesn't give up and just starts unloading on who's eating that shit like a Thanksgiving plate. Got him impersonating Eve because he is not feeling that shit, until he starts weaving before getting that look in his eye. Then palming Mark's face and stiff arming him out the way. But it doesn't stop Mark, who flies in just to be told to stop, because Thragg tells him since they took his home, now Earth is where they'll reside, with all 37 remaining Viltrumites blending into society, and all for the purpose to repopulate their race. And if they try to stop them, Earth will get cooked. But in return for not disturbing them, Thragg offers a truce to leave Earth alone. And obviously, Mark does not agree, with a cracked voice saying no. That is, till that PTSD starts kicking in and kicking his ass, making Mark realize he has no choice. Therefore, agreeing to Thragg's terms, who now says he won't hear from him again, leaving Mark up here alone, with only the thoughts of living among them. And speaking of them, back on Talescria, Alan has a message from Optimus from the grave, and it's that he must, by any means necessary, use the Scourge virus to finish what he started. Every last Viltrumite must die, but surely Alan would never do such a thing. Right.